Om. ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Okay, Hari Om, everybody. We are on chapter 8, which started off with 7 questions, 6 of which were answered in the first 2 verses, real quick answers. And the last one, the 7th question, how does a person of controlled mind remember you, is being answered by Bhagwan in the rest of the chapter. And he started off saying that at the end of life, at the time of death, if the person remembers me, then he comes to me. But then that is not as easily done as is said, because remembrance at the last moment, when the faculties are very weakened, will be of those things which we have remembered all our life. Then the other thing about memory is we have to have knowledge to have memory. And then also the knowledge has to be correct knowledge. So those are the factors that Bhagwan told us. I mean, it implies from his verses, because otherwise, like I said, people would not even remember God, and then I'll just remember him at the last moment. That is not going to happen. If we have not remembered him throughout our life, then it will be very difficult to remember him at the last stage of our life. Then Bhagwan went into creation and destruction, and to give us a concept of time. So he gave us the concept of time for Brahmaji. Time is different for different people, and also like I've told you, the ant, for her or him, the elephant is like eternal, because elephant lives for 100 years and ant probably lives only for 100 days. So time is very relative. And also it is false, because once we fall asleep, we really do not have any concept of time, whether we slept for 5 minutes or 5 hours. We can't tell until we wake up. And what also it tells us is that only when the mind is awake, time comes into factor. If the mind is not there, then the time factor doesn't come in at all. He told us about the four yugas, and then the kalpas, and how much is 1 day of Brahmaji is the creation. And when he goes to sleep, pralaya happens. Pralaya is not permanent, because Brahmaji will wake up maybe after a long time. Just like for us, when we, at the end of the day, when we go to sleep, then all pralaya happens for us also. It's a daily pralaya that is happening in deep sleep. But then we do wake up the next day morning when our vasanas are ready to fructify. So we wake up. And so same thing happens with the totality, with the total creation. When the total vasanas of all the jivas are over, then Brahmaji's night comes, and then Brahmaji goes to sleep, which means all the creation, all the jivas go into pralaya. They don't get destroyed, they just become unmanifest. That is to be understood there. And then when Brahmaji wakes up, when does he wake up? When all these vasanas start stirring, just like for us, when we wake up. So when the total vasanas start stirring, then creation happens, and that is when Brahmaji's day begins. And those same jivas who went into unmanifest come back. So this is also to tell us that death is not the end. It is not the end. It is not a full stop. It is a comma. So what is death is becoming unmanifest. The form of that person, individually, if you say the form of that person becomes unmanifest, but that jiva is not dead per se, okay? It can't be dead because jiva is part of Bhagwan, of Ishvara. So it becomes unmanifest, and that same jiva will come, but the form will be different. That's why we don't know. We don't know which jiva we are related to in this, because last birth, maybe that person was my friend, enemy, relative, whatever it could be, but the form is different. So that is also for us to understand that there should be no fear of death. It is not the end. That is why Bhagwan is explained. Now we finished 20, where he has said that there exists something. So there is unmanifest and manifest. Okay, there's creation, manifest, destruction per se. Destruction means where we don't see it. So the night of Brahmaji and the day. What Bhagwan is now saying, beyond these two, there is one reality which never goes through this manifest, unmanifest thing. Creation is becoming manifest, creation is becoming unmanifest. But beyond creation and destruction is the actual substratum, which never becomes unmanifest. It is unmanifest to our senses, okay? That way it is unmanifest, but it never goes away anywhere. And that is what is to be understood. That is what Bhagwan is saying. That is my real abode. That is my supreme abode. In chapter 7, we saw these terms para and apara prakriti, and beyond that, he said, is turiya. So that is the same idea that he's explaining here in different terms. He's saying creation and destruction, and beyond these two is my real nature. So transcending both these, where in my real nature, neither creation happens nor destruction happens. That is what he says. And that is what we have to aspire for. That is what we have to seek. Okay. So starting with 21, Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. What is called the unmanifest and the imperishable, that they say is the highest goal, path. They who reach it never again return. That is my highest abode. So what is called as the unmanifest? See, creation also we said manifest, unmanifest, okay? But here he has added one more word, imperishable. He has qualified it with imperishable. Avyakta it is, okay? See, we said creation is manifest, and then creation becomes unmanifest. And again, that unmanifested creation becomes manifest. So here also he's saying unmanifest. So then what is the difference? The difference is that is perishable. This is not perishable. That's why avyakta and akshara. There's a qualification there. Avyakta and akshara. So because creation, destruction, okay? When there's no creation, there's destruction. When there's no destruction, there's creation. Manifest, unmanifest. But beyond this, there is another unmanifest, which is imperishable. That's why that unmanifest that now he's talking about in 21 is different than that unmanifest where the creation becomes unmanifest. That is to be understood. So beyond these two, there is the real reality, which I have always said, quote unquote, real, really real, what I've always been saying, really real. What is really real? Because this creation destruction is not really real. It is real. It appears real. This world appears real. But at one point in time, when Brahmaji goes to sleep, after many, many years, 1,000 yugas, which we can't even imagine. How do it's really, if I say 432,000, like lakhs of years, we can't imagine also. So when Brahmaji goes to sleep, it becomes unmanifest, but he's going to come back. This coming, going is not there in that other unmanifest, which is imperishable. That is to be understood. And that is paramam gatim, parama supreme. We've seen this word many times. Supreme is a point of no return, and beyond which there is nothing. Those are the two aspects of Paramam, supreme. Gatim, Gati is, there is a word called Phala also, and there is a word called Gati. So Gati and Phala both mean the same thing, but Phala is a result that you will get in this life, and Gati is something you will get after death. That's the difference. So Gati also is result, Phala is also result, but here Gatim is used, not Phalam. So it is after death, because now we are talking about Kramamukti here. So at the time of death, if this person remembers me, that's why it's Gatim. Okay. So Paramam Gati, he goes, and Yam Prapya na nivartante. This also, that's the whole meaning of Paramam. No return. It is a point of no return. That's why even in chapter 2, Bhagavan told Arjun, you will get the heavens, but it is a point of return. I want you to go to a point of no return. And this is his point. This is the highest. Na nivardante tadhama paramam mama. That is my real abode. Otherwise, people think, Vaikuntha is there and Kailash is there and God is here and God is there in temple, this, that, everything. No. Those are places. That's okay. But my real abode is the one which is not only unmanifest, but it is also imperishable, which never gets destroyed. That is why, see, this word I in Sanskrit is aham. You know what aham? Aham is to get destroyed. When you add to it, that which never gets destroyed. Now see, this I, even in our individual life, I did this, I saw, I is always there. Unless that I is there, did. If I say did, it will not make any sense to you. Saw. What does it make sense? But I add that I to it, then it makes total sense. She did something, she saw something, he saw something, right? So that I is always there. That is that aham which never gets destroyed. Unfortunately for us, what we think is that the ego only we are calling as aham right now. When I say I saw, I did, I this thing, I that thing, what I'm referring to is ego. But the actual aham is this tadhama paramam mama. Imperishable, which never perishes, which is beyond both manifest and unmanifest. And it is unmanifest. Unmanifest means not perceived by the senses. Unmanifest means that which is not perceived by the senses. So you can never see that abode with your physical eyes, hear it, taste it, smell it, touch it, etc. Okay, that is what he's saying. Then, how do I get to this abode? Now he's going into bhakti. From 7 onwards, he started with this bhakti because it will culminate in chapter 12 will be bhakti yoga. So slowly he's taking us to there. Purusha sapara partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. That highest Purusha, O Partha, is attainable by unswerving devotion to him alone, within whom all beings dwell, by whom all this is pervaded. So the line 1 refers to sadhana that needs to be done. Effort, self-effort. And here the sadhana is bhakti. And not only it is bhakti, but it is ananya bhakti. Ananya word, it will come again in 12 also. It has also come before. Ananya, in this chapter only it has come, Ananya. Exclusive. Ananya means exclusive. So exclusively when you depend only and only on God, that becomes Ananya Bhakti. And the reason he's saying Purusha Saparapartha, Purusha here is referring to the Supreme Self. So this is Purusha, this is the highest Purusha, that Purusha that he had referred to in the earlier verse as reaching whom it is a point of no return. That Purusha, that substratum. Technical language, we would say that Satchitananda principle. That is what we would say. Substratum, we would say Okay, so upon which this dance of creation and destruction is happening. That is technical language. So here what he says is, Purusha sa para Partha, O son of Pratha, O per plus Artha, one who is trying to learn, understand the meaning of Parameshwara, that also Partha. So here Partha should be taken as that meaning. Because Partha also means muddy-headed fool. Partha also means son of Pratha, which is Kunti's name. So, but here, per plus Artha meaning per Parameshwar. So if you are trying to understand what that Ishvara is, then the only path is Ananya Bhakti, exclusive dependence on me. What is Ananya? Exclusive. When you see in this life, we depend on many things, right? We depend on our family for support. We depend on friends. We depend definitely heavily on money. If I have a good pension, benefits, then I feel very secure. That is what dependence is. I think, oh, I'm very secure. I have extended benefits. I have this, that, etc., etc. What we forget is that all of these things, really when we need them, they may not come in handy. Really, the last one. So what is actually constantly available to us is Bhagwan. Because Bhagwan being Sarva Shaktiman, okay. See, I have a friend whom I'm depending on. How do I know that that friend will be in town when I really need? Or family also. Family also may not be there. They may be traveling. If I'm dependent on my son, oh yeah, he's in town. But maybe when something might happen to me, he may be traveling also. Right? So when we depend on people, money, we depend on money, but maybe that may not be there either. Right? And money may not be able to help us at that moment, depending on what we need. If we need, so money may not. But when you think of Bhagwan, because he's Sarva Shakti, what is Sarva Shaktiman? Means all kinds of powers he has. So he has the power to send us help by way of a person, by way of some bird, animal, any kind of help he can give, because he's Sarva Shaktiman. But the thing is that we don't have that kind of faith in him. That's the problem. So if we have this, that's why the knowledge that he is Sarvajna and Sarva Shaktiman. Sarvajna means he knows. If something is happening to me, Bhagwan is within me. How does he not know that suppose my body is suffering or whatever, I have money difficulties, I have any kind of, how does he not know? He's with me all the time. My friends may not know, my family may not know what is happening to me, but Bhagwan always knows. That's why this Sarvajna and Sarva Shaktiman, we must always remember, have strong faith. So you can say, Bhagwan, what I'm going through. Now, please help me. But with faith, not like just like that. Have faith. So this is what is meant by this Ananya Bhakti. Exclusive dependence on God and God alone. And unless we do that, he doesn't come also. We have seen many times the story of Draupadi, of, the elephant, Gajendra. So when you really call him, leaving aside all other supports, he will come. So second line is the sadhya, the goal. The first line is what is the sadhana? We develop Ananya Bhakti for him. And also, see, when we love somebody, we'll always remember them always. So that also will help us in remembering. So when we love Bhagwan the most, we will remember him at all stages in our life, in all circumstances in our life. And then at the end, it'll be easy because him only we are remembering all the time. Then at the end also, it'll be easy to remember him. Na? And then know him as Sarvajna and Sarva Shaktiman. Verse 9 is always there. Kavim, Puranam, Anushasitaram. All those things are there. Remember him like that, or remember just him, Sarvan. You know everything. Remember him like that, also simple. So then he said, then what happens is, by whom this is pervaded, then you will come to me. Come to me within whom all beings dwell. Within whom I am in them. Right? They are in me. I am in all of them. It's like that number one, which pervades all the digits up to infinity. Number one, like that he is. He is one which is pervading within all the beings. You will come to know that. Means you will come to know the self in me is the self in all. That is what it is. Bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. Tat dhatu. That's tat dhatu. We have satatam word, continuously. So tat is something which is pervading all, through all. So like the thread is pervading the entire cloth, like that he is pervading the entire world. We've seen these ideas before. So what by whom all this world is pervaded, if you have bhakti toward ananya bhakti towards that, you will reach that. Because at the last moment, you will remember him. And this here, he is remembering it as Purusha. What we have to understand here is, see, when he says, I pervade all, I dwell in all the beings, huh? So he's dwelling in us. We have seen this idea in Upanishad, in Bhagavad Gita also. This jiva of mine is Ishvara. There's no difference. Okay. But we call ourselves Jivatma, or the expression of this entity is twofold. That is to be understood. Jiva, Ishvara are one. Okay. Just like I've given you this example, any one person is a mother and a daughter at the same time. Why? Because this side children, mother, this side parents, daughter or son. So same entity is splitting like this two ways. Same way, this entity within us, Jiva, which is none other than Ishvara, splits. How does it split? When it becomes miserable, it is expressing at Jiva. It expresses as Jiva. Why? Because Bhagwan, there is no misery in Bhagwan. Because Bhagwan is Satchit Ananda, remember, bliss. Bliss. When the same Jiva is happy, okay, then that is what is the expression is of Ishwaratva. So there is Jiva and Ishvara, they are one, but Jivatva is there and Ishwaratva is there. What is Jivatva is me becoming miserable, me becoming worried, me becoming dependent on, somebody, some person, something in the world. When I'm dependent on, I am expressing as Jiva, and that is known as Jivatva. But when I am happy, when I have the faith that, okay, I will do this and God will come and help me. When I express happiness, then I'm expressing as Ishvara, and that is what is Ishwaratva. So the choice is ours. Choice is ours. Okay, we have to understand that this is the case. Now, every time we become miserable, if there's not we become miserable, something happens outside which is not what I like. When do I become miserable? When the situation or the person is not conducive, or whatever I'm saying, the person is not listening, or the situation or the weather is which I don't like, that time I'll become miserable. I become. Now what I do, I know this, I have this knowledge. So now I choose. Okay, the weather is bad, but I choose not to be miserable. So that's why Gurudev has said, worries or situations, bad situations come, miserable situations come to us. And the reason they come is because of our own destiny, which we have done in the past. But to become miserable or not miserable is my choice. And that is what Purushartha is. That is what self-effort is. So understanding that Jiva Ishvara are one, understanding that there is Jivatva and Ishwaratva, understanding that whatever is happening outside is a result of my own actions in the past, I choose not to get affected by those things that are happening, situations that are happening. So that choice, when we exercise and we remain calm, things happen to all of us. There's nobody, I've always told you, there's nobody that can say that, nothing bad is happening to me. It happens to all of us. But when I choose not to feel bad, when I choose not to be miserable, so that's a choice. That's a huge choice. Then I'm expressing as Ishvara. And that is what needs to be done. So what is coming is destiny. How I respond or react is Purushartha. And that's where this is to be remembered. that I am not this limited entity. I refuse to be miserable. That doesn't mean that, you don't do something to correct the situation. Whatever is to be done, you do with a happy mind, with a neutral mind, not like complaining and all that. Okay. So this is the first one is when you develop bhakti, when you develop love might be a easier word to understand. Love God. That's what exactly we've studied in the morning text. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. At the level of the mind, you must love God and have faith. Now he's going to start on Krama Mukti. So in Muktis, I told you liberation, there is what is known as Jivan Mukti, then there is Videha Mukti, and there is Krama Mukti. Jivan Mukti is liberated while living. So the person, while in this body itself, realizes his oneness with the Lord, and now he's free. He is this, he's Jivan Mukta. But with Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukta, so what will happen is, at the time of his death, definitely he will, once he realizes, at the time the body falls, he will merge. Okay, so that is Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti is a little bit more complicated than Videha Mukti. See, when Jivan Mukti happens, person can realize the self, but he may not be totally rid of all the vasanas that is there. So a person who realizes the self, but is not completely vasana kshaya, what is known as, that vasana kshaya means destruction of all the vasanas. If it has not happened, at the time of death, he will get mukti. That is guaranteed, okay? But what happens is when not all the vasanas have been destroyed, anger might come, jealousy might come in this person who has realized. But a Jivan Mukta Purusha, what he does is once he realizes the self, like in a split second it will happen, then he will put in more effort to even destroy all the vasanas. That is what he does. So there's more effort required for Jivan Mukti than Videha Mukti. If I, in that split second of meditation, Nidhi Dhyasana, if I realize the self, I'm done, because after death, that's it. There is no more birth for me. But if I want to be completely done in this life while living in the body, then more effort is required. Now, the third thing is Krama Mukti. So in Krama Mukti, what is happening is you are getting more and more and more evolved births until you what is evolved? There are 14 worlds, 7 up, 7 below, right? So you will go in the worlds above, and you will reach Brahmaloka. In that Brahmaloka, Brahmaji himself will give you the knowledge of the self, and then you will get Krama Mukti. And this is what he's now bringing in here. So there is something known as Krama Mukti. Bhagavan Shankaracharya has always said that no, don't bother with Krama Mukti. It is too long and too difficult, but it is there. It is there. So at least we can try for that. If you're not trying for Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti, Krama Mukti is something you're doing good all the time. That is what Krama Mukti is all about. Okay. And this is what now he's going to explain. Yatra kale tvanavruttim avrutim chaiva yoginaha prayata yanti tam kalam vakshami bharatarshabha. Now, at what time or path departing, yogins go never to return, as also to return that time path I will tell you, O chief of Bharata. Bharata Rishabha. Rishabha is the bull. Bull among Bharata dynasty means bull is a representation of strength and righteousness. So he says among the Bharat dynasty, you are a representation of strength and righteousness. So I'm going to tell you these two paths. Kala generally means time, but there are two paths. This is what Bhagavan is saying now. There are two paths. One path is a point of no return, and one path is a point of return. Okay, so this point of no return, this is krama in sequence. So one to next to next to next, that is krama, sequential. And point of return, these are the two paths. Okay. Now, what these two paths are, what are they meant for? See, one thing to be realized here is point of, if Bhagavan is saying this is a path of, it is not meant that the person is bad. So it is only says Chaiva yogi, both are yogis. Yogi is what? Yogi is one who is trying to join with the higher. Yoga word coming from yuj dhatu, to join. So yogina is a person who is trying to join to the higher. Okay. So in chapter 6, we have seen this idea. So there are these both, they're not, one is not like evil and cheating and lying and murdering. No, 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 no. But one of them has no desires and one of them has desires. That's it. Good desires, huh? Good desire, not like hurting anything. But this is what the difference is. So the one yogina who has no desires will go merge with the supreme reality. But the one yogina who still has desires, he will come back because those desires have to be fulfilled. And that's why Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Brahmaloka you can reach, but what is your state of mind? Do you still have some lingering desire? That's why Bhagavan has said, even desire for liberation you give up at the end, because that also is a desire. So this is what this is. So don't think that this path where Bhagavan is a one, the good people merge and the bad people come. It is not, there is nobody who is bad here. They're both yogis. And yogi means they're trying to join to the higher. But even though I'm trying to join the higher, I might have some desires. And that is what this is. Now he's telling Arjun, I will now tell you in detail. And now he gives the next 3 verses, 24, 25, and 26. We'll see the word meaning and then we come back and we see the subjective meaning of it. Okay, because the word meaning is very simple. Agnir Jyotirah Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Janaha. Fire, light, daytime, the bright fortnight, the 6 months of the northern solstice. Following this path, men who know Brahman go to Brahman. Okay, so these are the steps. Fire, think about fire. Fire is what? Heat and light. See, the main things. Fire gives light. Light. Okay. Daytime, it's bright, light. So in light, what happens in light is we can see clearly. Na? In light, we see clearly, right? Okay. So the bright fortnight, Utta is above, Uttarayan. See, we have seen Bhishma Pitama did not give up his life till January. January 14th, this Uttarayan starts. By the way, Sankrant that is there, no? That goes from January 14th, 6 months. And the next 6 months are Dakshinayan. And therefore, Bhishma Pitama, he waited to, because he was Ichhamarni, he could die by his own will. So he was on the bed of arrows, but he waited till this Uttarayan started and then he gave up his life. But of course, he was, so bright fortnight, 6 northerns following this path, men who know Brahman go to Brahman. This is important. Means what? Means they are of a controlled mind. They have correct idea. They have the knowledge. They have verse 9 memorized. So they know Bhagwan as that. They have the memory. They have remembered him all. So at the last time, even though through following this path, they go to that path. Okay. So in Kathopanishad, Bhagwan Yamraj, he tells Nachiketas, those who do only karma means karma yoga, means all good actions only, okay, karma yoga, they get swarga and they definitely come back. And karma plus upasana, those who are doing, they will reach Brahma Loka. Now in Brahma Loka, that is where the thing is. He may be doing karma and upasana, but he may have some lingering desire. Then he will come back. That's why this Kramamukti, that it actually, Kramamukti means not that you reach Brahmaloka and everybody gets. Because it is, Bhagwan himself has said in here that Brahmaloka also is a point of return. Depends on you. Do I have desires? Okay, then you come back. Because those desires have to be fulfilled here only in this world. If you have no desires, then you will correctly get the knowledge there and you will get liberated. So this is one path. Uttarayan, okay, northern solstice. Now the next path, which is the Dakshinayan, which is a point of return. This is a point of no return. 25. Dhumo ratris tatha krishnaha shanmasa dakshinayanam Tatra chandramasam jyotihi yogi prapya nivartate. Smoke, nighttime, the dark fortnight, also the 6 months of the southern solstice. Attaining by these to the moon, the lunar light, the yogi returns. See, yogi only this person is, so he's not a bad person. He's not a thief and this, not like that. Okay, he's also yogi. Okay, but he has desires in his mind. So then smoke is what? In smoke or fog, I can't see very clearly. See how the difference is between the two. There it is fire, here it is smoke. So in smoke, I can't see clearly, right? Ratri means nighttime. I can't see clearly. It is dark. Krishna is also dark. So the Chinmaya, which is Daksh, is going southwards, so going downwards. Then he reaches the abode of the moon, okay, lunar moon. And from there, Prapya Nivartate, he comes back. Okay, he doesn't merge with the supreme reality, he comes back. Moon, you have to understand, moon is functioning on borrowed light. Moon doesn't have light of its own, right? Physically, science, we know that. Moon is only shining in the light of the sun. Moon doesn't have its own light. That is to be. Now, in conclusion, now Bhagavan says, Shukla Krishne Gati Hete Jagata Shashvate Mate Ekaya Yatyana Vrittim Anyaya Vartate Punaha. The path of light and the path of darkness available for the world are verily thought to be both eternal. By the one, the path of light, a man goes to return not. By the other, the path of darkness, he returns again. Okay, so very simple. Bhagavan says there are two paths. One is the Uttarayan, one is the Dakshinayan. The Uttarayan has now let's see what this actually means. Agni, first, who is, there is a path and there is Agni Devata standing there. So what will Agni give you? Light and heat. So path is clear. Then Jyotihi, light, again light. Path is very clear on this. This is what is being said. What does it mean? Now let's see. Agni, fire is the deity of what? Speech, Tattvabodh. Okay. Jyotihi, light, means sun. The sun is a natural light source, is the deity of the eyes. Right? Okay. Ahaha, daytime. In daytime, we can see clearly. Okay. So what it means is, by speech, if you take the Lord's name throughout your life, then that Agni Devata will guide you. Means what? Means by speech. There is no physical guidance. Through speech. And eyes, you have to only see the form of God. Okay. Now, seeing is what? I can just keep staring at, the photograph of Krishna or idol. Not like that. Seeing means understanding him correctly. Seeing is, understand, because you cannot see God. So through bhakti, what is seeing God? In every person in the world, if you are able to see God and God alone. Ishta Devata. Through bhakti. So that is the meaning of this Agni and Jyoti. Agni, deity of the speech. By speech, you have to sing bhajans. We saw in Narad Bhakti Sutra, that's a form of bhakti. People like to sing bhajans. People like to tell stories of Bhagwan. People like to, basically take his name at every situation. That's what I said to you. Every time Swamiji sit in my car, they'll take the name of the Lord. Everything that you do, you bring Lord in the picture. Speech is one way of doing it. In your mind also, you can think, if you don't want to say it loudly, you can just think in. Oh, come on. Why can't I even decline this now? Just give me 1 sec. I can't decline it. Hello. Okay, sorry about that. It's a WhatsApp call from India, so they don't know. Anyway, so Jyoti, and by eyes, seeing the form, loving his form, and understanding what he is. So when we do this, ahaha, daytime, that is what will give us a clear path to him. Means understanding and knowing him. That is what is to be understood here. Not like, physically, nothing, but mentally. This is what he says. Tatra prayata gachanti brahma brahma vido janaha. Those who know Brahman. Because what? Whole life they've spoken only of Bhagwan. Whole life they've tried to only understand Bhagwan. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Then they will go to him only, na? All the time they've thought of him. Now, think about dhuma, smoke. What is this smoke? Smoke of desires. Because when the mind has got so many desires is what is desire is creating agitation in the mind. So the mind is agitated. Such a mind cannot see clearly. Cannot see clearly. When your mind is, in a lecture, or even at work, we used to go, if we are worried about our child at the babysitter, then we won't be fully focused on what work is to be done, right? So that way, this dhuma indicates desire, smoke of desires. It is like a smoke where you can't see very clearly. Or when you have, that's why we saw in verse 2 also, when that extreme desire is there for wealth, then the person will do something wrong for that wealth. So this is why Ratri, nighttime, we can't see clearly. And therefore, because the smoke of desires is there, even though, and where do they reach? They reach Chandra Loka. Chandra is what? Deity of the mind. Deity of the mind. So this, when you have that many desires, you are living at the level of the mind. So you reach that deity Chandra, and from there you have to come back because those desires have to be fulfilled no matter what. That's why you come back. This is what is meant by these ones. Okay? All right? So it's not physically, but the subjective meaning of these verses, that's what Bhagwan says in conclusion. The one who has got the smoke of desires has to come back. He will go to Chandraloka, he will come back. The one who does not have the smoke of desires, his mind is very clear, okay, will then reach me, reach a point of no return, because there's no more desires left. So there's no reason to come back into this world. That is what it is. All right? Naite sruti partha janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. Knowing these paths, O Partha, no yogin is deluded. Therefore, at all times, be steadfast in yoga, O Arjuna. See, Shanmasa word came both things. Na? What is Shan? Shan is 6. Masa is month. 6 months. See our whole life, half our life. What do? We sleep. Half life is gone in sleep. Okay. Other half is actually gone in worries. It'll come in Bhaja Govindam. We keep worrying, right? We keep having guilt for what we did or didn't do in the past. And then we are worried about what will happen. Death is the most fearful thing that we have. Fear of death is there, right? When it will come, how it will come. So more than half of our life is wasted. Shanmasa. 6 months, 6 months, right? Half year. Half life is gone in, we sleep. That's why sarveshu kaleshu, all times. How do I do it during sleep, Bhagwan? No, before going to sleep, you remember me. So I will remain in the subconscious. When you wake up, you remember me. During the daytime, even if you can, while simple things, simple, it is, I find it very, I just do groceries and I come back, and when I open my parking gate, I'm like, thank you, Lord, you brought me home safe. Simple. Nothing I've done, only groceries, which is just my mundane weekly duty, right? But anything can happen at any time. when I went to Langley for the first time in my life alone, right? Whole time I was doing Krishna Japa, whole in the car. I'm just sitting boring, on the highway. And then you be with me, Baba. First time I'm going to Langley on this freeway, right? I'm sitting there, I'm doing Krishna, Krishna in my, what? It doesn't cost money. It doesn't cost time. Anyway, I'm sitting, I cannot go anywhere. One whole 100 kilometers or something, my God. It's in first and last time. But anyway, I'm telling you, this is so simple. Sir, when he says, how can you remember him all the time? Are Baba, you can. You can. Sarveshu kaleshu, he says. So that then, the smoke of desires, this will go away, blow, the name will blow up. The power of the name is very, very powerful. In chapter 10, Bhagavan says in Kali Yuga, Nama Japa is, it's me. Nama Japa. I told you, even when we chant Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan is taking Nama Avatar on our tongue. So if you chant chapter 15 every day, which is very, very simple, 20 verses, 5 minutes, so it's not easy. See, we and knowing these paths. So know that this, there are these two paths. This is Krama Mukti. There are these two paths. You can go up. So by speech, you take his name, try to understand him, try to reduce your desires. That Bhaja Govindam will be a very good text to, that's why it actually ties in with this chapter. So it's good. That is what we do. I don't know. I feel that, it's easy, but at least now we know, right? That's why this two paths, this light, path of light, and then path of darkness. Path of darkness is Ratri, Dhuma is because of desires. So those desires can be curtailed. Vedeshu yadneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punyaphalam pradishtam atteti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanamupaiti chadyam. Whatever fruit of merit is declared in the scriptures as springing up from the study of the Vedas, from the performance of sacrifices, from practice of austerities, and from charity, beyond all these goes the yogin who, having known this, the two paths, attains to the supreme primeval essence. This is now his conclusion. The question was, a person of controlled mind, how does he remember you? Right? That was the question. Now what he says, whatever is declared, see in chapter 3 also Bhagavan said, Trigunatmak, he's talked about the Vedas, and the Vedas, the Karma Kanda portion, they say, you do this, you'll get this. You do this, you get this. You get it. But that getting that result is all temporary. Temporary. That's why he says, whatever fruit of merit is declared in the scriptures as springing up from the study. So if you're studying the Vedas, for scholars, they're studying the Vedas, performance of sacrifice is what? Karma. Studying is at the level of the intellect. Performance of sacrifice is at the level of the body, and practice of austerities is at the level of the mind. Okay, because your mind decides to do fasting or your mind decides to do something, and then the body follows. So yajna, when you do, is a body. So whatever actions are done by the body, mind, and intellect, they will give you results because the Vedas promise you those results, and Vedas are promising. So those results will come, but they are a point of return, because what is going to happen is, with desires, we have already seen, you get a desire, it creates greed. That if that desire is fulfilled, it'll give greed. And if it doesn't get fulfilled, it'll give anger. So you're caught in that cycle, in that web. I did this, I got this, I'll do this, I'll get that. Whatever is promised says, beyond all this goes the yogin. So the yogin is the one who is trying to join to the highest. These are also yogis, huh? Those who are doing, see, karma yogi is there, bhakti yogi is there, jnana yogi is there, but they have something, some desire. So that's why this yoga, that's why for us it is, let us try to get something which is beyond what the scriptures are promising us. And that yogin who, having known these two paths, now we know these two paths. That's why we have to know the paths, and then we have to act accordingly. And then the result will be, we will go to the supreme. and supreme again, from where we shall not return. Because this world is nothing but dukkha. It is dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. Okay, this is how this chapter concludes. Chapter 9 is a continuation of 7. I told you that, remember? This is a digression. But any questions? Yeah.
As you said, if we keep chanting God's name, but if I have like desires, I'm still like not that age, right? Not in like 50s or 60s. So I still have so many desires. So I keep chanting Lord's name every single time. But when I chanting, the desire gets stronger. Because if I don't fulfill that desires are bothering me until I sort of fulfill that desire. So is
Yeah,
that
but
desire wrong thing or
no, 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 no. First thing is you're saying, and this is how I understand it, you're saying that if I keep taking the Lord's name, the desire becomes stronger. That is what you said. Is that what you meant?
yes? Yes, yeah, yeah.
Why? How? I don't understand that
No,
one.
so say for example, if I want to do something, if I have some kind of desire, if I want to like become millionaire or I want to become rich or I want to do something. So if I don't fulfill that desire keeps running on my mind. So if I say, for example, I say shiv, 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 but back of the mind, keep having that desire. So because of that desire, I cannot concentrate on God's name. So that is called like with mithyachari, as you said before. See,
No,
like mind
taking
में
the,
कुछ I
lekin
have something in my
taking
mind and my mouth is saying something, right?
in the beginning, this also I've already told you, it may appear mithyachari, but taking the name, that name will purify your desires. That name, taking the name will, first of all, there will be no bad desire coming into your mind. Okay. Second, if that desire is good, it will not let you do something like we saw. If the desire is for wealth, that name will not allow you to do something wrong to get that money. And if
Yeah,
you
that is
continue taking that name, that desire will ultimately also go away. But you need to do that. Desire, taking the name of the Lord is not going to strengthen desire. What is strengthening the desire is, what will happen is maybe you're taking the name of the Lord, because of that, that desire got fulfilled. And now the greed is coming. But if you continue taking the name of the Lord, maybe it is hypocritical in the beginning, but later on, as you come to know more and more and more about God, it will become less and less hypocritical, because you will have the idea that no, this is the right thing to do. This is how I know Bhagwan. That's why it says, understand me first. That's why studies are required first. So taking the name is not going to make a desire stronger. If at all, it will purify the desire. If at all, it will take away the desire. And it will definitely not let you do anything wrong. Try, stealing money from somewhere or stealing
no
something
no no
and
no
then
no
doing Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. And then do you think you'll be able to pick up anything?
no no sorry, not that kind of desire. Desire means something if I want to achieve in life.
Ah,
So
so
say
you
for
achieve.
example,
So,
something if I have strong intuition regarding why I want to become a millionaire.
okay.
So that is fine, right? That kind of desire. Not like I'm not doing anything wrong for sure. That is for sure. That is not even in my blood and everything. That is I'm clear. But I'm
But
saying
that's
any
what
like
I told
higher
you, na.
the greed desire.
You
Like
want,
if I want to make
millionaire
more
is what?
money,
Money, na. You want money.
yeah,
What is
more money,
millionaire?
more,
And what do you want money for? To become happy.
yeah,
So ultimately, no matter what desire you have, it is to become happy.
yeah,
So
that's for sure.
taking the
That's for sure.
Lord's
Yeah.
name ultimately itself will give you that happiness, that money will not mean so much to you. But you have to go through life and experience it. I'm just telling you this theory. I'm telling you the theory. But for you to believe it, you need to experience it. So right now, your thing is take the name of the Lord. Because that's what he's saying in Bhagavad Gita, he's saying in Bhajagovindam, he's saying the same thing in Sadhana Panchakam. Read the Vedas daily. What is Vedas? I told you that time also. That Vedas doesn't mean that you go hunt for, Rig Veda and no. You read
Yeah,
these books. So read that now. To do that, you've hardly been in the class for what, a month, 2 months? You have to do this for years, for births. then it will come. And taking the name of the Lord is not going to strengthen, it will only strengthen desire to know him more, to know him more. And whatever other desire you have, it will get purified. That is a shoo-in. But you have, take the name and see. Any other question? Okay, so I have got this list I have made of verses. I will WhatsApp it to you all. Next week, we will start with the discussion on chapter 8. And if we complete it, whatever we complete, we complete. If not, we'll continue in January. Right now, we'll chant verse 1, just our tradition to indicate that we have not completed the studies of this chapter. अथाष्टमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच किं तद् ब्रह्म किमध्यात्मं किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तम अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम् अधिदैवं किमुच्यते. So we'll close for today and we will meet next week, which is the 20th. I believe we have about 4 classes after this, and I will WhatsApp this thing right now. I think 2020. Oh yeah. On the 27th of October is our AGM. So this class will not happen. The 8 o'clock morning class will be there. AGM is at, believe, at 10 or 10:30. So Balvihar is cancelled, and this class I have to cancel. All of you who are members of only the Vancouver mission, Chinmaya Mission Vancouver, will receive an invite for the AGM. And please do attend the AGM, because then you have a say in whatever. You can look at the financials, what is happening, so you don't have any misunderstandings about how the money is being handled, how things are being handled. So all of you will get information. It is on Zoom. You will get a link. And so please do attend. So 27, this class won't be there. And then the next class is on the 3rd and then on the 10th. So we have only 3 classes. We need not rush the verses. We won't be able to complete. There are 3 more classes before I travel. So we will do as many as we can, and then we'll continue in January. January class will be the first class will be Sunday after the 6th. 6th is a Monday. After that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all classes will be after the 6th of January. Okay, and we'll send you notice anyways. So I'll see you next Sunday, all of you, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So please, at least for the first day, please pick verse 1 to 4, huh? Somebody. Start off. I have to start picking from the bottom. We'll have to start going backwards, So at least there's verse 1 to 4 and 5 to 7. So at least for next Sunday, up to verse 7, if you can pick, then we'll be okay. All right. Om swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha gobrahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini desho yam shobharahita brahmana santu nirbhayaha. Om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kasyat dukha bhag bhavet. Om asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrutyurma amritam gamaya. Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva avashishyate. Om shanti shanti shantihi. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay, Hari Om, everybody. Have a good
Thank
week.
you so much.
And tomorrow there is no class. Monday, tomorrow is a holiday, so we don't have the Monday class. Okay. So
Jayadi,
we'll
uh,
Friday. Yeah.
yeah, I will try to be there on the Saturday chanting class because I'm traveling in between. I don't know whether I'll be able to attend, but I'll
Yeah.
want to
Yeah,
be.
that's fine. I'll put you in there, and Ramesh is
I'll be there.
opening and closing the class, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, because I'm traveling, I didn't, I didn't want to do the opening.
Doesn't matter. That class is open. It's open. It's not restricted. So anybody can join. I'm just trying to see so that we can get a WhatsApp group started. So when we send out notification, then people know whether the class is there or cancelled or whatever like that.
Correct.
That's why I want that WhatsApp group, not for anything else. Okay.
From January, I'm there in India, so I will be more stable. But before that, I'm traveling. So
Doesn't
you'll
matter.
be there in Mumbai by any chance when you
I'll
go?
be in the ashram all the time.
What are the dates?
I'm there from 16th November to 16 December, 1
Oh.
month.
Okay, I'll be there on the 14th of December. Let's see if I can come then.
All right. Okay. So have a great week. And Friday there is a class, huh? By the way. So Friday, yeah. Okay, I'll see you. See you.
Thank you, Jayaji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om, everybody. Hari Om.